Hey everyone, welcome to the Franchising 360 show. I am Tim Parmeter, and with me, as always, is Danielle Wright.
That's me.
Every week here on the Franchising 360 show, we are going to take a 360-degree look at the franchising industry. Franchising is typically not at all what people think it is, and we're going to educate you on things like, should you own a franchise? If so, how do you know which one is the best for you? Once you're a franchise owner, we're going to talk about strategies to help grow your business. And we're going to show you how to take your existing business and turn it into a national or even international franchise brand. So who are we talking to about all this? Well, Danielle has been in the industry for over 15 years, primarily on the franchisor side in a variety of roles, including Chief Development Officer. And now she consults for numerous brands on how to effectively grow. Whereas I am the founder and CEO of Francoach and have been doing this for over 10 years. Our team at Francoach works with individuals who want to become a franchise owner. The consistent thing for both of us is that we're here to properly educate you on franchising as a whole, and we're going to do that hopefully on this show. Danielle, how are we doing tonight, by the way?
I'm here. I'm living the dream, sitting next to you.
You know what? That is dream worthy. I'm glad we actually have that one recorded, so that's amazing. There's I think like kind of cheesy cliche, like, life moves fast and things are always changing. And people can get kind of caught up in what's going on in the world, whether like, oh, it's a market, it's the tariff, it's the recession, it's a pandemic.
Oh, that's where we're going with this. Got it.
All of these things. So the question we want to really answer tonight is, so is now a good time to get into franchising?
That's a great question. Do you have a lot of people asking you about that or bringing that? I do. I have a lot of people.
And the thing is, I think it goes on no matter what's going on.
Yeah.
Like there's always some level of concern or thought or wonder about that.
Okay. I've gotten a lot about the tariffs. Is it going to impact you? I've worked with a brand that has retail. I had a guy say the other day, like, I'm not going to buy retail just yet because, the tariffs. I'm like, we have retail in stock, friend. Like, it's already sitting in a warehouse. There is no tariff on it.
And your new business won't be open for 9 months anyway. But
right.
Sure, let's
worry
about that.
That's where that sits.
So I want to make sure we really dedicate a lot of time to, and not just like what's going on currently now.
Right. Historically.
There's always something, right? And history does tend to repeat itself.
Yes.
We tend to ignore the history, right?
What did they say? If you wait long enough, everyone will die and forget, and then we'll just repeat it again?
Yes, I think that is correct.
Okay, good.
It's like 100-year cycle.
Yes. Yeah, we read that today. Look at us.
I know.
How smart we are.
Exactly. Speaking of getting smart and smarter.
Oh, is it that time?
It is that time.
For the
dramatic music. Dun, dun, dun. Danielle's Friday Franchise Fun Fact. And this segment has a sponsor this week. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
It's brought to you by Francoach.
That's great.
Tell us what our fun fact is.
Our fun fact kind of ties to is now the right time. Funny enough, Millennials and Gen Zers, which don't ask me where that falls because I'm not really sure myself. I think I'm a millennial, maybe not a millennial, but who knows? It is the demographic.
Well, I think we do know. It's based on when you're born.
Kind of, but when you're like, I don't want to throw my age out there, but
I'm 29.
I'm in that cusp of where I could be in one or the other. So just
Gen Z
saying.
or whatever. Yeah. So
Sure. Anyways, that demographic are buying more franchises today than any other generation because they're looking for that flexibility. They're looking for something semi-absent. Like we're going to talk today, there's a lot of moving parts politically, economically, and they're looking at this as an opportunity to get in and to diversify and have something in the event, the dirty word recession tends to get floated around. So that's the fun fact for today.
No, it's good. And I think there's still the, us old people of my generation.
Us people.
But the 40-ish into the 50s, that corporate exec, there's still a lot of that. That's always going to be there. But I think that younger generation, millennial, even Gen Z, they've learned in a couple years what it took my generation decades to learn.
Right.
Working for somebody sucks, right?
But you do it, right?
Because again, like we were raised, like go to college, get a degree, get a
Get a job.
job, get your gold watch and pension. And that just doesn't really happen anymore. However, I want to take a moment because you may not. Speaking of retiring and gold watches and pensions, your amazing stepfather, Scott Burrell, just
Yes.
retired
Yep.
from
The fire department,
after
36 years.
36 years.
Yes, but he is also a generation that started his own business.
Correct.
So it definitely, he prepared himself, and there's a lot of the, what do I do next, right? He's not quite 65. He's not 67 and a half. He's not any of the magic numbers that you need to be to do any of the things that one would say retirement brings. But he'll continue to work his business and probably not kill my mother because of it. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But he started early on, 30 plus years ago, with a plumbing business, and he works it part time. And
But actually he was, maybe we could say he's progressive because he started a business early in life. What
Yes.
is now
yes.
the generation in that age group is doing it more and more now.
And I think you kind of have to. I read an article the other day, like you're not going to be able to just have one thing and survive no matter what's going on in the global economy. Like you have to have diversified incomes and bringing in a little money. That's started the whole side hustle conversation. So it's a good time to think about a business ownership, entrepreneurship, any of the things that you want to call it.
And is it a good time? And what are some reasons maybe why people sometimes think it's a bad time? We're going to hit up all of this stuff and more when we come back here on the Franchising 360 show. Hey, we're back on the Franchising 360 show. I'm Tim Parmeter. With me, as always, is Danielle Wright. And speaking of Wright, we are talking about, is this the right?
That's
I'll be here all week. Thank you. Is this the right time to own a franchise? And there have been several inflection points, like over, the history of Earth, basically, where things have been going seemingly better economically, employment wise. We had that fun little thing called a pandemic like 5 years ago. But talk us to us about a couple of those points in time where, man, things look kind of bleak, but how things were really going in the franchising space.
Well, I'm not the resident expert on all of these things, but I thank you for, and is there a wrong time to buy a franchise?
Well, you're asking me, I would say no, but I do this for a living.
We've bought a couple ourselves. Maybe they weren't the best time to buy a franchise, but that's probably us. So no, when we had decided that we were going to talk about this based on the current economic environment, what's going on, all of those things, I did some research and come to find out through some of the inflection points of recessions, like historic recessions, the Great Recession, technically franchises didn't take a dip, or the sale of franchises didn't actually increased. Now, the Great Recession, yes, it went down, but it only went down by maybe...
Is that back in the 30s?
20,000.
I lived through that one too.
20,000 businesses were lost.
Out of
that.
There's usually...
Out of 800 plus.
I was going to say roughly
1,000.
Million.
800 plus thousand businesses, 20,000 of them. Now, I'm not negating that was
right.
Someone's probably life savings. It was their work. But just like a lot of people that invest in the stock market, any of you viewers that are watching, like when things go down, you're typically trained to that's the time to jump in, buy,
right.
what have you, and then ride the wave up. Franchising generally has that same experience. So I was having this conversation with, funny enough, my sister, who doesn't know about much what we do. And then she
should watch this show.
She should, but she's getting her MBA. And so part of the conversation is just to learn more about how does that impact us, because it does impact employers, and staff may be let go. And for us and what you do, that's a time to call Francoach and kind of say, hey, what are my options? What does that look like? So we just get a different, varied, interested party and ownership, where they're like, hey, I can't get a job. There aren't jobs available. Now's the time to do that. So when you look at some of the historic highs of franchises compared to some lows and recessions. You had 2001, which was the dot-com bubble burst.
Right.
There were a lot of people that got into franchises then. You've got the Great Recession. Even COVID, when we talk about 2020, I think I worked with 4 different franchise brands at that time. One of them, I tripled the size of their system
Right.
in a business model that was forward facing.
Business to business.
Right. You had to actually go out and try to gain market share. And we actually did really well. And I don't mean to say well, but we actually helped people get into business ownership.
Yeah.
In that time.
I feel like the resiliency a lot of times with franchising is if people are struggling to get a job, then this becomes the alternative because it's kind of the full-time piece. I'm like,
Right.
oh, the heck with this. I've always wanted to do this my own. Now let's kind of that nudge to go do it. And when people are like gainfully employed and the employment, like unemployment is really low, then I think there's the side of like, you know what? This ain't lasting forever. Right? Why don't I take this as an opportunity to have that kind of side hustle, semi-absentee business?
Flexible business.
So now I've diversified. And then when this job ends, and it's going to end, and it's rarely on our terms when the job ends,
Right.
You're not back in the, gosh, I gotta go back. I gotta update a resume and do all of those things. You can just now roll right into that.
But you can be doing that at the same time, right? So like you started this segment of is now the time. If you're basing that decision wholly on what's going on in the political environment, what's going on in the economic environment worldwide, then I would challenge you to rethink this. Like, let's tee it up in a different fashion, because if that's your driver, you're actually going to be getting into the wrong thing, because you're going to start asking the wrong questions instead of how do I have a lot of people right now that are looking for jobs or gainfully employed, but are looking for this other thing that matches because what was it we were talking about the other day? Hope. I've got hope, right? That things will, and even today I had a conversation that, okay, the tariff thing has been, yeah, but that's today.
Yeah.
You don't know and if you know what tomorrow is, please tell me what the lotto numbers are. Bye, people. I will no longer be on the show, and I will.
17, 22.
Correct.
Course.
Like, if you've got that magic ball, let me know, because then that's
So,
if anybody plays those numbers, good luck.
Yes, let us know, give us our cut. But no, and I think when we come back, I want to talk about the dreaded R word. What is the R? Oh, don't know the R word. Do you know the R?
There are a lot of R words, so
This R word we're going to talk about to help you understand, is this the right time and how to know if it is or not. That and more on the Franchising 360 show when we come back. Hey folks, we are back on the Franchising 360 show. That is Danielle Wright. I am Tim Parmeter. We are talking about obviously franchising, but is this the right time? And we kind of talked about that dreaded R word.
I know. I was like, how are you not leading with that? Go.
Yeah, and like even,
I don't know what you're talking
even
about.
during
Let's
the break,
go.
you're asking me. I'm like, no, I'm not telling you. You gotta wait till we come back. Recession. How many times do you hear people looking at franchises and sit there and say, ooh, I want something recession-proof, resistant, worry about the recession, and
A lot of times.
but is it just me, or is it like nails on a chalkboard when you hear that?
For me, it is a valid question. It's something that people do talk about, but the only people that talk about it when we start at the beginning of the show are the people that actually lived through that,
Right.
and in some form or fashion were hurt by it. So when you think about millennials, we were in that gap, but did we really get touched to the extent that others did, right? So older generations really hold on to, I want something recession resistant. Well, the word resistant alone means what?
And resistant is better than proof. Like proof always kind of like bugs me a little bit. Recession resistant, okay, right?
But I think it's all relative.
It is
all you're
100%.
That's the excuse button.
Yeah.
That's the I'm too scared to do this. And guess what? It's okay if you're too scared. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay, right?
Like, that is okay.
It's such a relative thing where, like, I think we can all, like, or I want something need based because it's going to handle any recession. But I'm like,
Okay,
right?
we'll talk
Okay,
about that.
right? Your stepfather with the plumbing business. If somebody wakes up and there's 2 feet of water on the ground,
Right.
or in the house,
Right.
that needs to get picked up,
Correct.
right, or cleaned up. Do I need to hire somebody to clean my house?
Yes.
Well, right, like you and I are gonna go, heck yes,
Well,
right?
especially you. You do not clean up well.
Uh,
But that's an inside story you all just get to know now. He's
just fine.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally. I was gonna do a really old reference.
Sure,
Say I was
it's fine.
Felix Unger.
Back it up. Back it up.
But everybody has that thing where you're gonna get your nails done, right? Like,
But that goes back to so instead of saying
consumer side, right?
recession resistant or recession proof or what have you, I've had a lot of people ask me that same thing in whatever industry I've represented, and it's the people that value that as part of, even during COVID, right? Like, that was what's going to bring me sanity in chaos. And if that's going to be the thing, then I'm going to make sure I'm going to budget for that, right? When it comes to household needs and things, yes, you're going to do that. And then there was the whole DIY. Well, yeah, I did DIY because I couldn't get people to come do stuff in my home. And now I'm having to pay someone to come back and fix the stuff that I DIY'd because it didn't work out for me that well, because I thought I could and I would, but it didn't. And so it's kind of following the consumer behavior. The biggest hit for that was fitness and health, wellness, and beauty. Like you're saying, nail salon. Like, I'm not going to go get my Botox in my head because I can't go and get Botox in my head.
Or even a haircut.
Right. Like,
right?
it's just not, and I'm not going to the gym because I'm not allowed at the gym. But as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a franchisee, it's the thing we constantly talk about is, can you figure it out?
Yes.
Can you figure out how to survive in those times if you have a business? And guess what? Those that did will and will continue to do so. So having a fear of those things is logical, and you should. But the reality is that you survive based on that grit.
Well, and I think the answer to the question is now the right time. There's only one person that can answer that question, and they're staring back at you in the mirror, right? And so, like, we had somebody just recently, like, you're going through the whole process of looking at franchises, even before becoming a franchise owner, and any little thing that goes on in the world can have an effect on somebody's belief that this is the right path. We had really 2 people here recently at the very end of the process, all of a sudden found out they were pregnant. I've got one client, his wife's pregnant, they're relocating. He just got a promotion in his job. Like, can neither confirm nor deny that. But, like, those are things that if you're looking for a reason to not do it, it's a great reason. So that's, and both of those situations, they're like, no, let's go, bring it up, bring it on. This is what we want to do. And all of those whys behind it are really, really key.
Because you can always talk yourself out of anything, but it's harder to talk yourself into something. And I think that really ties to, it's not a small amount of money. It's not an insignificant amount of time. And so if you're weighing those options, is now the right time? Like, to your point, only you can decide that, but only you can say that I can bridge that gap. Like, it's not so insurmountable that I can't see myself on the other side of it. Because do you want to continue in the uncertainty if tomorrow is going to be the day that someone comes and say, it's nice working with you. I'm right. Like, here's your pink slip.
Here's your box.
Yep.
And thank you for
Here's the door.
Right. Mm-hmm. So everybody gather their box and their belongings over the next 2 minutes. We're going to be back with a little bit more on, is this the right time, and a couple things to think about to help you determine if it is, here on the Franchising 360 show. Hey, welcome back to the Franchising 360 show. Danielle, we were talking again, is this the right time? Some of those kind of fear producing things.
Yeah,
You had a great quote to you were going to kind of
I
share
did.
with us.
It was,
You did.
it was kind of a cheat quote, and it was more of, "Hey, can you talk about this?" versus
Yes.
me. But do you want me to say it?
Yes. Like,
Like we're talking recession,
yeah.
right? So, um, it just gives you an opportunity to get in when things cost less, right? There's limited competition because sadly and unfortunately that goes away, and then gives you the opportunity to build something that scales because again, the competition's gone. People are still needing what it is, the service you're providing. So there's not a right or wrong time, but when you think about weighing the right or the wrong, it's probably the right time to think about getting into business ownership.
And I always go back to really kind of think two things is first, you've got to have a great understanding of what your why is for wanting to, and not just, oh, I can't find a job. Like, I guess I'll do, like, no, that's not what this is. You have to really understand why. And then we talk about this all the time. It's the FSO. You got to be able to figure stuff out. And I wanted to kind of take a moment to share, like, and it's been the pandemic thing was so long ago, but
Yeah, not so long.
we had a client late 2019 signed a franchise agreement
Who's
with
we? Francoach?
Francoach.
Okay.
It's a national search firm to help you find the best franchise. But we had somebody, they signed a franchise agreement with a brand called Corporate Caterers.
Okay.
Do you want to take a guess what Corporate Caterers their business model is? No,
Food?
didn't want to guess. Right? So the whole thing is based on like a higher end, really cool setup of corporate catering. Launched the business in October, November of 2019. Well, a few months later, right? Like there were no more corporates to cater. So what's he going to do? Like, oh, I quit, I give up, right? And
Which a lot of people did.
a lot of
I
people
mean,
did. A lot of people
and
did.
that's okay.
And and I distinctly remember worrying specifically about this person when everything kind of went down. But he really took the FSO to heart and found a way to find not so much corporate, but people still needed food. Was it shelters, right? Different organizations, groups. So turned his business model into one, a little philanthropy, but philanthropy that paid basically. And again, because he had all of his whys for wanting to do it and control and a lot of things in his life that led him to the franchising, and he was not going to be deterred. And so you really have to be able to kind of look at yourself and go, why am I doing this? And like when something goes wrong, because it will, do I want to figure it out?
And there's the inflection point of getting into it, and then once you're into it, right? So I think a lot of people, hey, the research up into the point is great, and I love the idea. I'm going to jump in, and then it's night and day different. Now I'm in it because how often do people fail? They don't. Like the reality is, it's a very, very low number, especially in franchise businesses, of failure rates. So at that juncture, if you're no longer going to run that business, there's a lot of reasons for it.
Yeah, you have it's like I always equate it to going to
It's not a recession or a pandemic.
It is you.
It is you.
So it's like I always equate it to going to college. You can pay your tuition and you have the right to fail miserably. It's your right. Same thing with this. You have to decide you want to. So couple quick reminders before.
Well, that was a tongue twister for you. Quick reminders.
When you're at a point where you want to learn a little bit more about franchising, francoach.net. If you want to become a franchise, you want to be more successful with it, you want to turn one into it, we got it all. Check out, there's going to be a little QR code right there.
Somewhere.
Here. To check out our YouTube channel, which will have all of these episodes, a bunch of other things, but also our podcast, the Franchising 101 podcast is there. And then next week, money. People always, there's kind of the whole money factor of this. Let's talk a little bit about how we figure out like how much this costs.
Now that I've gotten over the hurdle, I'm over the fear of recessions and tariffs and all things.
All the things. So we're gonna put help you figure out the dollars and cents to see if this does make sense for you. Until then, that is Danielle Wright.
That's me.
I am Tim Parmeter. We thank you so much for watching the Franchising 360 show. We'll see you next week.